Guys, welcome to 180 Drums. This is not fluff right now. You guys know me. You've hung out with me, hopefully, on the podcast and all these lessons. We're friends, right, guys? So you believe me then when I say that Tim Buell is honestly, quickly becoming one of the most technically proficient drummers I know, with playing anything and everything he wants on the drums. That intro was insanely clean. So, dude, I am so honored to have you part of 180, man. So flattered that you're here hanging. It's been so fun doing everything from playing Smash Bros. Together, which I kick your butt at, and then getting creamed at N64 GoldenEye. So, dude, it's been a good hang. Yeah, good to be hanging with you, man. Absolutely. Just had an amazing cup of coffee. Factual. And now you're about to elevate our bass drum skill to a whole new level with some exercises, man.
That's
so
the goal, man. That's the goal. I'll pay you later for that intro. But
yeah, that's right.
So foot speed, everyone wants it. But, like, I want more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like, anytime I feel good about the foot speed I have, I look at one of the guys.
Yeah.
You know, name him.
Yeah.
Her. Whatever.
More.
It's, dude. I'm just like, what am I doing? I'd have to have a triple kick pedal to do that, you know?
Right.
But there's some easy things you can do, and one of the best ones, talk about foot speed. There's a guy named Derico Watson.
Come on.
Derico Watson. D-E-R-I-C-O Watson. He is, I studied with him at the college I went to. He is amazing. And he really showed me this exercise that totally broke out. It forces you to have good technique. So you start playing it and you start saying, oh, I can't even do that. Why can't I do that? And then you have to look down and say, well, I can't do it because of this reason. And like, foot technique is pretty elusive because there's so many different ways you can do it, and there's so many theories out there, heel toe or slide of your foot or all that stuff.
Okay, can we address some of this for a second? Because part of my problem with the foot speed conversation is that, really simply, I've seen so many techniques. I feel like I get asked about this a lot. I like to use a little bit of that slide, really simple, just kind of on your toe the whole time. Yeah. I've been lately, just for the sake of grasping it, really practicing the heel toe concept. Yeah. And I think all of them work.
Totally.
At the end of the day, what you want, though, is clean, consistent power. Yeah. Power, right? Power. Like, you want to be able to hear it. I've seen a lot of guys demonstrate foot technique, and it's like, okay, I can see what you're doing is fast, but it sounds really like do-do. Right. You want some power behind it, too.
Yeah.
So walk us through it, man. What are your thoughts on foot technique? Maybe demonstrate some stuff, too.
Yeah. So first thing is, like, heel up or heel down. Right?
Yeah.
Heel up is when your heel is up.
Yep.
Off the pedal board, and heel down when your heel is down.
Yeah.
On the pedal board, right? And I think no matter which one of those you do, if you're a heel up player, if you're not using your kick drum, drop your heel down.
Right.
And to play heel up doesn't necessarily mean you have to bring your heel this far off the kick drum pedal. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be just a little bit, and I feel like when I'm playing, it's just a little bit off that kick pedal.
Yeah.
Because the higher up you raise your heel, all these muscles start having to work hard to lift your heel up. Not doing anything to actually help you play the notes you're trying to do. They're working at keeping your heel elevated.
Yes.
So you just want to be aware. Anytime you're raising your heel, how high am I raising it? How much is my calf having to work out to just raise that up?
Yeah.
And then when you're not using your kick pedal, drop your heel so you give your whole leg a chance to relax and not get crazy and tired, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, huge.
So, and then whether it's heel up or heel down, wherever you put your foot on the pedal, whether it's really, really up close near the chain or really, really far back on the footboard, is going to change not only the feel of the pedal and the physics of throwing that pedal down, but it's actually going to change the sound of the bass drum.
Big time, yeah.
And I'll try to see what we get here. If I choke way up on it, I'm gonna start way forward at the kick pedal, right near the chain, and then I'm gonna back my foot off. And you'll hear that toward the middle of the footboard, you get a bigger sound naturally. Not by playing any louder or softer, but you get a bigger sound when your foot is further back.
Love it.
Let's try. you're up closer to the top of the footboard, it starts choking your sound, and it's the same as a stick. If you choke up on a stick, you're going to get a smaller sound.
Yeah.
You move your hand back on a stick, you're going to get a bigger sound.
Definitely. Yeah, it's leverage, right? I mean,
Leverage.
Yeah, the farther up you get, you're having to push the pedal down a lot farther
Yeah.
compared to being in the middle. So that's awesome, man. And for yourself, you would typically gravitate towards a heels up approach, correct?
Heel up approach, and my foot is the balls of my feet.
Yeah.
So not the toes, but where the toes meet the rest of the foot.
The pad of your foot.
Yeah.
Which is called the ball of your foot. So that's right.
Yeah. Is like maybe at halfway point. That's gonna feel like really far back for a lot of people, which is fine. If you don't like it, do it a different way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's totally cool. And this pedal has a little bit longer of a footboard. And I like that it has a longer footboard because I can scoot even more toward the middle and still have it be a good balance.
Right. Yeah.
And then another thing is like always thinking about the beater. When I travel and I like fly in and I'm playing a backline drum set and I don't bring any of my own gear, I don't bring a bass drum pedal. And you can't always count on them. A lot of backline kits use a certain drum company's drum pedal that I don't like. So part of that is the pedal and part of that is the beater.
Yeah.
So I don't bring a whole pedal because then you're having to bring another. I'm not going to pay to check a pedal case.
Yep.
I just bring a kick drum beater.
Cool. And what is it about the beater that you're using specifically?
The weight.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
This is a Danmar. I also really like the Vic Kick felt beater.
Cool. Yeah.
That's a little slimmer. I don't have it with me because I actually did fly with the bass drum pedal for this.
There you go.
But usually when I fly, the Vic Kick pedal is a slender head.
Yeah.
And you can actually tuck it away way easier in like a little stick bag or whatever you're flying with than as opposed to this. And they're both felt, so they get the same sound.
Awesome. Very cool.
So yeah, beater makes a big difference.
That's great, man. Here's a little bit of a personal question. Something I find is there's times where my hips will get a little bit tired, my hip flexor. Mm-hmm. It could be a seat height thing, so I'd love to talk about seat height.
Yeah.
And then also talk about, I obviously don't sit this low right now. I'm sitting just to be a good height for interviewing you.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sitting, I'm trying to, I'd be very similar to yourself. I think we have a very similar seat height. Are there any things you do to be very conscious of balance when it comes to balance, right?
Totally. I try to, whatever, both in hands and feet, whatever naturally, if I'm just sitting and then I put my feet out in front of me and that's what I try to have maintain. So
in terms of the spread of your...
my knees are at maybe just a little bit past a 90-degree angle.
Right.
Just a little bit. I'm not sitting super low because then I feel like you're having to lift more of your leg to play it,
Yeah.
And I don't sit up super high because then I feel like I'm going to fall over.
It's really interesting. We got to touch on this real quick because there's guys like Dave Grohl sits really low. Then Aaron Sterling sits pretty high. Keith Carlock sits really high.
Chester Thompson sits higher than any other drummer I've ever met.
This is true.
He taught at my college, and you're talking, he had thrones that he wouldn't use because they didn't go high enough.
Wow. Crazy.
And he's a tall dude, so I literally couldn't reach the pedals if I sat on his throne.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
It's crazy. So at a good height, so to where the angle that my feet feel comfortable is making a little over a 90-degree angle.
Yep.
And then same with hands, you just pick them up. You want your stick. When you just pick your elbow up, you want naturally the bead, the head of the stick to be right in the center of the head of the drum.
Yeah.
And it's the same with your feet. You want to be able to throw them up and say, okay, this is comfortable. I'm not having to reach one foot out further. I'm not having to have this one come closer.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a pain because you might have your kick drum nice, feeling where you want it to be, and then this foot is having to reach further. And all of that playing with your foot way out here is going to mean that you're having to bring your body from here over to here.
Right, yeah.
Now you have some back muscles engaged that shouldn't be doing anything, that should be relaxed, should feel comfortable. So all of this it's super important and it can be the tiniest adjustments.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's important to think about, So
big time. Yeah, and we're talking about this so that all you guys at home right now watching this, or wherever you're watching this from, because you could be on your mobile, but the whole goal right now is to understand that speed, that technique and all this stuff is going to be a result of form to some extent. If you have some awful form, you're going to have a really hard time. So just trying to make sure that it's like we're thinking about seat height, we're thinking about positioning, we're thinking about the balance. I love that you mentioned not leaning forward or leaning back. You want to just be kind of planted.
Straight up and down.
Yeah, straight up and down, just relaxed. So we've talked about the pedal. You like to play in the center of the pedal, or at least somewhere in that range.
And spring tension.
Okay.
I like my spring really, really tight.
Yeah.
Jake sat down the other day and he said, "Dude, I don't know how you're doing this. This is crazy."
Yeah.
And that's just a total comfort thing. Some
Right.
guys get really, really, well, it's got to be tight and it's got to be like this so that you can, what, you know, when you start thinking about it and you say this feels comfortable, great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it, man.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so spring tension, and then in terms of the beater positioning, you kind of just have it stock. It's like...
It's pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not back super, super far.
Like Stanley Randolph.
It's not, it's also not really, really close to the head.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and you can see that on the overhead, too. If we take a look at the overhead and you let go of that pedal tension, we can see where you kind of got it set.
Yeah, and then when my heel is up and I'm kind of playing, it brings that beater probably... I try to keep my beater off the head.
Okay, so you do try and play off the head.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to bury the beater.
Yeah, and especially, you know, depending on the music you're playing. If you're playing jazz, you don't want to bury the beater because chances are you're playing a smaller bass drum.
Right.
And you want it to have tone.
Yeah, big time.
But if there's a ton of muffling in there, it's not going to make a huge difference. But when you mic a drum, you know, let's see if we can bury it and then not bury it and see if there's a difference. There's a lot of muffling in there, so it's not a huge difference.
Yeah.
But it is noticeable.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
I hear it in the toms, I think, the most right away. You hear even the toms kind of relax a little bit when you come off of it. But I know that we have a bunch of lessons where Rich Redmond talks about that a lot. He likes to use that authoritative, he calls it the masculine sound versus the feminine sound.
Sure.
I think of guys like Keith Carlock playing off the head. It's not so much feminine at all, but it's open. It's different. Open. And I get what he's saying. It's open. It's more sensitive, right? Yeah. Masculine sound is staccato and like oomph, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So we're talking a little bit about let's get into some of these exercises maybe.
Yeah.
And even have you break down, because this is like the bass drum speed masterclass, dude.
Sure.
So teach us, take it away, man.
Yeah. So this first exercise, basically this whole exercise is you're playing eighth notes on the hat, snare drum 2 and 4. And this is actually 2 bars of 4/4 and a bar of 2/4.
Okay.
You don't have to think of it like that. I think it's helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of like earlier we talked about, as long as you can sing the melody and understand it, you don't always need to know time signatures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the melody is all on the kick drum, obviously.
All right.
So what you're doing is you're focusing on playing 16th notes with your kick drum.
Okay.
And you're going to go all the way from 1 16th note to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and then repeat 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
And in between all those groupings, you skip a 16th note. There's a 16th note rest.
Okay.
You know? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Coming down is going to be weird because you're on a weird beat, right? Totally.
Okay.
And that so it's a bit of a coordination exercise at first to see how it lines up with the snare drum.
Right.
Lines up with the backbeat. So I'll play it pretty slow so we can just get the coordination, because at a slow tempo, this is not going to be so much and for some it might, and if it is, cool.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it's not going to be so much a foot exercise as it is a coordination thing.
Cool. Very interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So that's the exercise. Now, when you're picking this stuff up in speed, what's happening with your foot? Do you want to maybe just play a little bit faster? We can take a look at your foot, and then you can maybe talk us through.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you like using a rocking motion?
It's a little bit of for the doubles. It's a bit of like a tapping the first note, so that you just get the beater.
Tapping with the ball of your foot and then the toe.
It's more of the toe and then the ball.
And
of the foot.
Okay, so you're using more of like the. Okay, gotcha.
And then for the 3, 4, and 5, 5 is the hardest. 5 is really hard. And it's surprising how difficult 5 is even compared to just 4.
Yeah.
4 is hard. 5 is really hard to get
kidding.
clean and nice. So I'm usually playing. Yeah, no. We'll take a look at it and see if we can't break it down more.
Dude.
I was gonna see where it broke, and it broke there.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you're not afraid, man, to just plow through it to try and find, like, how far can I push this thing? I guarantee you, no other person wearing those boots has ever played. Ever played. Last night, Tim and I were hanging out, and some dude on the street was like, "Man, those are the coolest boots I've ever seen." But very few people have ever played bass drum that fast in those boots. So, okay, amazing. So with the foot, you're truly kind of driving it forward with a lot of the muscles in your shin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not so focused on trying to rock your foot as much as you are just playing it, just through sheer practice.
Yeah.
And which is cool because you don't lose the intensity. You're trying to keep up that power as long as you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And there's a little bit of sweet spot where like you get to rocking constant 16th notes and you'll feel an amount of rebound that you can use to your advantage. You know, just like the hands. You can use. That's why it's easier to play on 20-inch kick drums than it is 22, and even more so than 24.
Yeah.
There's still rebound happening.
Yeah, big time, big time. Okay, do you want to play through that exercise again, way slower, really slow, so people can grab?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Cool. This is very. It's backwards from what I'm used to thinking of. I'm usually thinking like 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah.
But this is really cool that you repeat the 5. It changes the feel entirely.
Yeah.
And I would encourage everybody watching to try it a couple different ways. Just mess around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome, man. Truly, you guys are going to look at the PDF. They've got the examples there. So, just looking at the PDF, you'll be able to follow along and mess around with bass drum technique. Like, if you're playing heel down, do you ever practice changing your foot technique at all? Like, trying it heel down? Or
So, playing jazz, because it's really hard to not bury the beater with heel up.
Yeah.
It's not that it's impossible. So, I kind of... I'm still technically playing heel up when I'm playing jazz.
Okay.
But my heel is, like, almost on the footboard.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't ever play full on heel down glued to the footboard and I'm playing all my notes. It's generally like just I adjust how high up I lift my heel depending on what I'm doing.
Yep. Cool, man. Right on. Anything else you want to address when it comes to foot technique?
Not for now. There's a couple variations that we'll get to with this because you can also start working on your left foot.
Love it.
But yeah, for now,
that's for the next lesson.
Yeah, man.
See you guys there. Take it away, man.